Welcome, everybody, to Chapter 44 of LegionsCast. Live! We did it. It's the second episode we are on. We're live, I think. Hey, everybody. I am Lord Steven, and we're here to talk about Mythic Legions like we're going to do every other Thursday at 5 o'clock.
Legions, not just Mythic Legions, guys.
That's true. That is very true. We are going to do all the legions that they give us. We're going to talk about here, and something called Figure Obscura. Yeah, I'm Steve. My co-hosts, Emil Wickman. How you doing, Emil?
Hello there. I'm doing fine.
How's it in Sweden? Everything's Swedish. Swedy? Is it good?
It's very Swedish here, and right now it's very dark. That's fine.
And then all the way from New Jersey is my good friend, the Wolf King himself, Len LaGuardia. How you doing, Len?
Great, Steven. I'm doing well.
Are we on? I'm checking the stream here, man.
Yeah. We have YouTube comments coming in.
We do. Nice.
We have with us today in the comments section, we have Curtis Akerman,
Hey, Curtis.
Smith, Patrick Boyle, Rick Emmert, Overlord Productions, Jesse Arnold, Just Shelf It, Recon Rage, 1/6 Shooter.
Oh, we got 1/6 shooter in the man. That just made us cool.
Super cool. I feel elevated now. I think it's important to point out, I don't know if we did last time we podcast that we did say we were going to be more regular, but I don't think we said we were going to be every 2 weeks, right? So we're aiming for 5:00 p.m. Eastern time every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Schedule on
That's right.
Thursdays.
That's
on
right.
Thursdays. We'll get better at posting the links earlier so more people can join us as we move along, right?
Yeah. We're learning.
Yeah, because the live thing's new for us, really. Well, for me anyway.
Well, Steven has only been doing this for like 10 years or something, right?
You know, it's crazy. I think me and Travis we started, my wife's going to kill me in 2015. So it's been like 8 years.
Wow.
I've been doing that stupid show. So, but obviously it was not live for most of those years. So yeah.
So Curtis wants to know, Emil, what time is it for you?
It's 11 p.m., so 5 p.m. your time is 11 p.m. our time.
What do you got behind your right shoulder there, Emil?
Are we talking about this?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I got my Cosmics today.
congratulations.
Nice.
I'm very
pretty
happy
good.
about it. I haven't opened everything yet. But then again, since we've been waiting for these for like 2 years, I don't think I should rush them all open. But I mean, I opened one and then I just started playing with it, you know. and I just sat there and was like, I'm just gonna open something because I had something else to do, and then I found myself sitting there and playing, and you know, they're right next to me here. I'm just, you know.
when we got our review wave for My Wife Is Gonna Kill Me, I was at Travis's house the day before we were going to record, and I said, hey, let me take the box and let me open them all up, so tomorrow everything will be out and everything will be together, and I'll have, you know, you won't have to hear us opening them up on air. And I thought that was going to be a blast. And it kind of was, but it was actually like after the third figure, I was getting tired. Like I was like, because you want it, you know, it's just so driven. You're fighting with the packaging, you're getting things out, you're figuring out where weapons go, you're picking out your hands, you're putting them in a semi-ready pose for tomorrow to show off. And then it's like, okay, I'm done with that. Now I got to stop playing with that and I got to go on to the next. And it's like,
yeah.
It's like, I was like, man, I think this would be much more enjoyable if I could, you know, space this out a little bit, open one up and spend some time with it, and then maybe the next day open one or something.
Yeah, I don't envy that stress, Steven.
I mean, it feels like a ridiculous thing to complain about. I mean, but,
and it is.
It is. It is a ridiculous thing to complain about. Everybody in the, is probably like, oh yeah, poor Steve. But
What figures did you end up with, Steve?
Sphyxian Guard, Ziri,
Nice.
and oh come on, why can't I picture it on my shelf? Sphyxian Guard, Ziri, I can't remember.
Okay. So it really left an impression upon you?
I mean, I picked it.
Is it bug shaped? Is it ogre scale? Is it
Is it
gray?
big
Is
and
it
green?
white?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just
Well, I can tell you this. If I did have Cosmic, I would take my time opening it too. I would probably have like 3 left actually to open. Because I did take my time. I would take my time. I really would like to appreciate every figure.
Oh.
And that's kind of how I felt about it.
But I mean, just her. I mean, just this pose, no shoulder pauldrons, no weapons, just standing like this. There's something mighty about her, you know?
Tell the listeners that aren't visual what you have.
I love Vorga.
Vorga.
yeah, she's
right.
great.
I'm holding Vorga in my hand now, and it's like her presence is impressive, you know?
Yeah.
Spacesuit Oleg Thygar is the third one.
That's a nice one. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun one. You can do a lot with that if you take the peg out and put like a normal mythic peg in it. That's nice if you put the cat peg, the black peg, the black neck peg that comes in the head pack in it, and you can get a lot of different things on it.
And I'm gonna be totally honest, because I want to open them and appreciate the figures as they are, you know, really as they are. But during this wait for Cosmics to arrive, I haven't been able to, stop myself from thinking about a few customs. So now I'm kind of like forcing myself not to jumpstart that, you know, just to really appreciate the figures. But I must admit, this will be, I won't be able to help this because it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Curtis brings up in the chat the packaging.
It is.
And it is substantial to get through. If I had them, I would really like the packaging because I like the repackage. I don't like to lose all the extra pieces and everything, and I think it's nice to be able to slip them back in there. I really like that art. That's the art in the background. It's really cool, and they each have different art. It's neat.
Yeah. It's beautiful packaging, but it is. You have to fight with it a bit more to get figures out and stuff.
But this is also a super silly problem.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the fight is real. I need to get the figure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Truth. So Cosmics is real. It's here. It's tangible. But like Mythic Legions, anything that goes in these lines or any of the Legions lines, we just got to see something yesterday that's going to be brand new. So let's talk about that. Yesterday there was, if you guys, a lot of people probably watched Four Horsemen O'Clock, which is the Four Horsemen's own stream show that they do. And they had a big group on yesterday. It was, a lot of people. CB was on, Gerard was on, Walter was on.
Jim and Eric?
Yep, Jim and Eric. Geez, yeah, they had their
George and Chris.
And I mean, when you see a lineup like that, you know you're gonna get to see something cool, don't you?
Yeah. And expect something, but not knowing what, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Why don't you got the picture? You want to pop it up, and we'll give our thoughts.
Here we go.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, this amazing 2-pack of a Mythic Legions figure and a Cosmic Legions in the same package. So,
which is odd. I don't know if they talked about why they did that, because I didn't get to see the show yet.
Jeremy said it was his marketing idea, to get cosmic people to be interested in the mythic figures and mythic collectors to be curious about the cosmic. But I don't know if that's the true, but that's what he said himself.
Sure,
Makes
it makes
sense.
sense. Definitely.
Yeah.
You have to appeal to both, right? And it's very appealing. And what we have here is there's a skeleton, and the skeleton is very cool. It's very Walter. Did we even say what this was a tribute
No,
for?
we didn't even say what it is.
No, I
Go
hadn't
for
got
it.
there yet.
No, we did not.
Go
It's a-
ahead. Len,
it's a-
tell us what this is.
Yeah.
Sorry. I gotta look it up. It's Walter. It's Walter Hagen, the head of the chief madman and chief CEO founder of Mythic Legions Cabal, which is the fan group, the Facebook fan group for all things Legions. Well, Mythic Legions, right? Because there's a Cosmic too, but he runs
He
that
started
too.
that as well.
Yeah, he's got them all. And they decided, Legions Con crew decided that they wanted to do a tribute figure for Walter for all that he does for the community. And they really knocked it out of the park with this, right? It's amazing.
Yeah, and these photos by Trevor, for you who don't know, Trevor William is an amazing, or actually the best, toy photographer that I know of. And his photos of these figures, you could stare at them for, hours. And I love these photos. We have the product photos, of course, that we have, but this amazing photo with the skeleton having a Cabal T-shirt, which will be a Legions Con exclusive piece. I think that will be included in the Legions Con exclusive one, and holding the Cabal banner in front of a horde of sharing Mythic Legions characters that would be representing us, the rest of us members in the Cabal. I love it.
Yeah. Which should I just read? It's better just to read a description
Read it.
on what this is. I think that probably works out better. This is the first time that we've ever had a Mythic Legions Cosmic Legions crossover 2-pack, Walt Tour the Mad. This is the day 2 figure for the Legions Con event, available only on Sunday, November 12th. This special set is a tribute to a longtime friend of the studio and one of our biggest supporters, our chief brand ambassador, Walter the Madman Hagen. Walter created the Mythic Legions Cabal years ago, building the most positive and welcoming toy community anywhere. To recognize how much Walter's passion has meant to us over the years, we knew we needed to do something extra special to honor him. So, the first ever release to encompass the worlds of both Mythos and Cosmerian seemed like the perfect solution. Of course, Walt Tour doesn't go anywhere without his Cabal swag, so he is waving his banner in figure form as well. Here's what you need to know about the set. This is, again, it's repeating that this is what's going to be available on Sunday at Legions Con. The exclusive parts for the skeleton are the Cabal T-shirt, which is a red shirt with black print. And the Cosmic version, the Cosmic version, right, figure is a clad in orange suit of Tusk 5 armor. He comes with a skull head, a Tusk 5 helmet to match the armor, and a removable clear dome. The show version of this 2-pack will also include a bone-colored version of the Relic of the Lost Corninin skull. The skull was previously seen as a special item in the first Cosmic Legions wave. So those skulls that people got when they ordered the all-ins, there's different versions. There's a retailer version that's one color. There is a direct from the studio version that was another, and this one is a third version, which is a bone color version.
And that skull was the first piece, if I'm not remembering wrong. That was the first cosmic piece that we ever saw. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we saw a digital render of the space armor. I'm not sure if we saw that before, but the first piece we actually saw was this skull buried in the sand. I remembered cheering in front of the, in front of the screen when I saw that.
Right.
And wow, time goes fast.
Yeah, it
It's
does. Well,
crazy.
Cronin on
Cronin.
Six Shooter says.
Cronin. This is interesting because it's also showing a Cosmic Legions Cabal logo on the shield, on the Cosmic Shield,
Yeah.
which is similar but different from the regular Cabal logo. So it's the first time I think that's been shown too.
And I like to say something about Walter, because as time goes, I mean, it's easy that you start taking things for granted. Like all of us who are a member of this community, we can say like, yeah, we are members of the Cabal. We have that, but it's easy to take it for granted, because when Walter started that, or actually when I got into the line, the Cabal was already there, and I met a super welcoming atmosphere when I entered this hobby, you know. So I'm very grateful for that, very thankful, and yeah, I just wanted to say that. I mean,
Yeah.
he's done a really really good job, and being an admin of a big group, that's a
That's a
tough
lot of
thing.
work. It
Yeah,
is
that's a lot of work, and there will be a lot of people disagreeing with him with different things. Sometimes you think that he's making the right decision, sometimes you think that he's making the wrong decision, but overall, it's a big job. I mean, and I like the Cabal a lot.
Yeah, and you're
It's
right.
it,
You're
yeah,
right. I do take Walt for granted.
yeah, and
No, yeah, I mean he's been around. He's at the forefront of a lot of the stuff that happens. Some who who else but Walt this year, or even whenever they decided to do it.
Yeah, definitely. It's time. Can I point out another little neat thing with the figures? That they're including a little gourd, and that gourd is that's a long pull that not a lot of people would get, because the gourd is the one that came with Monkey King, and they're using it here as just like a part of Walter's little swag. And the story behind that gourd, if anyone knows, is Anthony Asile, our friend, right? Anthony, our friend from the Toy Forge. His father, who is retired in his retirement and for fun and to sell at shows, makes gourds. He dries gourds and like paints them and makes them. That's decorative things you can hang in your house or like bird houses. And he has a lot of different techniques like wood burning and fractal burning that he decorates these gourds with. And two Legions Cons ago, the Legions Con 2, Anthony and his father made Walter a gourd with the Cabal logo wood burned into it, and they gave it to him, and he was just blown away. It was like so cool. It was just awesome. And everyone that saw the gourd was like, what the heck is that? Like, what's that about? And it was just neat. I don't know if you guys remember seeing it or hearing about it. So it's just a little extra touch that like they thought about to put in there. And I think it's really cool.
yeah, and one thing, since all of us three have been a part of the Cabal for many years now, we take some things for granted. So why the skeleton? Why is this figure for Walter a skeleton figure? Well, that's, his favorite figure. He has been very outspoken about it. Is Malleus. So, to us who know
Right.
him, it's obvious, but not to all new people. So this could be, yeah, just some
And
information.
the armor even has the Malleus colors. Like they put is it just, well, the
Yeah.
shins have the Malleus
From
colors.
this picture, actually, it looks a lot like Xylonis flock colors.
It does.
I don't know if that's how it really looks in person, because
Maybe he's a dead elf. Walter is a gardener. He's a gardener in landscaper, so maybe he's a dead, forest dweller. I'll go with that.
For us pop and swappers, I
I'll buy
wonder
that.
if you could be able to use that though, if you had multiples of these. Because, I mean, obviously the Legions Con version is going to be, more special and therefore more pricey. So it might not be the best figure to use for custom pop and swaps or whatever. But there will be, I'm sure, a regular release of this.
There will
Right.
be. Jeremy has already announced that, so it's just like we shouldn't talk too much about it, but it's really like that. They will be available later on, without the exclusive items of the skull and the T-shirt, I think.
Right, like the Fantastic Four was.
Yeah.
That skeleton has amazing potential for parts. Like, there's a lot of great stuff on him. He's got the torso that has the removable chest plate. He has that leather buckle neck armor. Not a lot of people we're talking about the scaphoid head, right? The extra head. It's giving us another scaphoid, which is a classic, awesome head that everyone likes to use. It's got the dagger. There's a lot of good stuff there.
And we
sure.
talked about that. We like the orange color, right?
Oh, I love that orange.
Yeah.
Orange and black is like one of my favorite colors. It's kind of funny because like 2 days prior, I was talking to Walter in message, and we were talking about that, how like we love orange. I had no idea. I didn't know what I had no idea. So when I saw this 2 days later, I was like, oh, well, orange works, because we were both like talking about how awesome orange and black is.
That looks like
So-
a lot of fun.
I'll just remove this for now. About skeletons, 2 weeks ago, last show, we had a faction focus and talked about Necronominus. I posted that overview photo of the whole faction and just asked, what are your favorite figures? In this faction. There was a lot of different favorites. It's definitely not one that everyone's loving, but I remember Scapular and Tibius. Tibius receives a lot of love,
Tibius is cool.
He is
really
cool,
is.
You know
He's
why?
always been.
but I mean,
'Cause he's
compared
fast.
to everyone else,
Yeah.
he's fast.
Tibius was. I remember Tibius when he was being solicited for the Kickstarter, and the racing stripes were an add-on at some point. He originally was shown without them, and then it was like, okay, but now we're going to add these racing stripes on him, and it just was like a game changer for that figure as far as I saw it. I was like, oh, now he's went from being cool to like a must-have,
Well, obviously someone was inspired by the Ford and Chevy marketing team of the Mopar era.
Absolutely.
So, you guys spontaneously announced, what do you say, a competition last time? Competition? It wasn't a competition.
Contest is the
a
word.
contest.
Not so much a giveaway.
You
It
guys
wasn't being
announced
competitive.
kind of a giveaway. Okay, what was it? What was it about?
No, well, last week we did a little segment where we created our own mythic band out of characters, and it was based solely on visuals, obviously, because there's no music to listen to. We just wanted to make a cool 4-piece band, and we talked about who we would pick to put in our bands, and then we asked people to show us pictures of their band that they made, and we got some.
Yeah. Should we start?
Yeah, absolutely. This one, I found this from Kirby Smith. He has an animal band.
He does.
He's got a guitar player in the back. I think it's Pitorion. He's jamming the guitar. The goat guy, I think, is playing lead, and maybe there's a vocal. Maybe it's just like a promo picture, and they left the drum set somewhere else. It's like a 3-piece punk band, I think.
Yeah. I could see the red guy in the back trying to steal the show all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, the big bull, big
I can see
bully.
that.
So no, this is great, man. You put your animals in a band and let them go crazy. LegionsCast Live 43 was such a good episode. Thank you, Kirby. That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Kirby.
Glad you're watching.
Yes, thank you, Kirby.
So, shall we show the next one?
Yeah, move on.
Heck yeah.
God Racer.
So yeah, this is tight. This is a really cool one. It is so metal that
Yeah.
I don't think you could get any more metal. This is from Brian Burnett, and he's got his Skelly band, man, and these guys are. Speaking of racing stripes, we got some right there.
I like that you can see them still. It's cool.
So what?
And naming the band Godraiser is just awesome.
Yeah, because that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah, they're great shots too. I love it. I love black and white photography.
So would we say this is Tibius?
Yep, he's jamming on. Well, I don't know my instruments. I don't know if that's a bass or guitar, but
I think it's a guitar, regular guitar.
the drummer. Look at this. He uses a couple of axe handles or something there, or spiked ball. Is that
Yeah,
what
I'd say
those?
this is the Illigar, right?
Is that Ilgar?
Illigar and Tibius are the only ones who have that waist pieces.
The
aren't
the
they?
loops for their
Yeah.
weapons. Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
That's great.
So,
His
talking
axe.
about Walter the Mad, with the favorite being Malleus.
Yeah.
And he has the axe, literally.
Yep. Singing his guts out if he had any guts. I don't know why, and this is a little off topic, but I always think that this skeleton, that brother Mandibulus, looks like Ted Danson. Ted Danson. Ted Danson. You know, like if Ted Danson were to die and be a skeleton, that'd be what his skull looks like.
And now I can't unsee it.
Am I right? Does it make sense?
Maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know why it makes
don't
sense.
know
That's
why
such a
either.
weird
Is it
thing
the
to
long?
say.
I was going to say the
longer
longness of the face, maybe.
Yeah. Ted Danson walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Why the long face?" Get it? I don't know.
So just go back. Actually, we don't know who is the lead singer, actually.
Well, it's got to be the one that was jamming, right?
Well,
He-
they're choosing both Malleus and
guess.
Brother Ram.
He looks like he's doing, backup vocals to me. He doesn't look like he's belting it out like the other one. Now that guy looks like he's bringing it home.
Yeah, I my guess would be on Malleus there. And then we had a third band.
Yeah. Good job, Brian.
Right. This is from Patrick Boyle. And this is like an album cover, right? It's Soul Haggis, the Mythonian Tavern Tour.
So these guys are like, I don't know, are they like a Celtic band? They're a tavern
think
band,
so.
I guess.
Yeah. They would. I think that they are for. I don't like time accurate. Like, so they would actually be in Mythos. Like, so they're not like a heavy metal band with electric guitars. They're not like
Right.
a modern incarnation. Like, this would be Patrick's like thoughts on a real traveling like band in Mythos in that time. And he has a Fox lead singer who is she's foxy, right?
She is a fox, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. This looks like a band that would make some music that I'd fall asleep to at night in my little
In your
tavern
tavern.
in my head. There's a guy in the back peeing?
I don't know. I think he's doing that like, angsty musician thing where he's turning away from the picture.
I like to think he's peeing. I like that better.
Yeah.
It's funnier.
No.
But yeah.
And then we have the dwarf.
Right.
Yeah, and he's
And he has
also
great soft goods too. He has great like Celtic wear or Highland wear, a kilt. His bagpipes are down on the ground. Those are some great bagpipes. I don't know where
yeah, and
Pat
it's
got
it's
those from.
Torgun Redfin who's standing with some really great Celtic soft goods on,
Yeah.
and they have a dog and a red skull on the ground. I don't know if the red skull could that be the fourth member of the band?
In Mythos, it very well could be, right?
Like they get the skull to sing songs like, "No, go for it."
Maybe,
You
maybe,
Hold
know?
them on your hand.
maybe the skull is the lead singer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if Patrick was recreating an actual album cover that I'm just not aware of. Because it is very strategic, all the posing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It also says the new album is released in spring 2021. So, is this something that he has done before in
Yes.
the past? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Pat has shared this with us before in the Cabal. This was something he came up with in probably spring of 2021. And they're all customs of his that I recognize that he has shared singly also. And so he had this ready to go.
These three bands, they make me happy somehow. I find myself being really, enjoy looking at these. I think we should do more things like this, I
Yeah.
I want to see more stuff like this.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I had like shot off last episode that we would have a contest and draw a winner and whatever, but in typical fashion I have big plans and not enough time to execute them. So I want to just tell everyone that the three of you that we did feature your bands to send me a PM via Facebook and I will get a prize to you. So each person that participated is going to get something from me.
That's good. That's great to hear.
Well, not me, from the show, from LegionsCast.
Yeah.
So
It's for-
contact me, guys, if you were featured, and I will get something really cool to you.
Yeah. It's yeah. Like Len said, it's really from me.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
yeah. It was Steven's idea.
It's my idea.
He just,
And I would have liked to have had another little fun thing for this week, but when I heard what faction focus was going to be and how large of a faction focus this is for Mr. Wickman, for Teacher Wickman, I said we don't have time for anything like that. We've got a lot to look at. Emil, you've spent some time on this.
I did, so we better. I mean, we have to rush through some of these parts because there's a big faction today, and we're looking at Eryther,
right.
But hopefully, we will learn some new things today together.
Can
are you ready?
I just make an announcement real quick?
Oh, sure.
Something that we discussed that some of the fans requested was if we can make these segments into individual videos to put on the YouTube channel that we have, and we do have a YouTube channel. If you're watching, because you're watching it live on that YouTube channel. And so Emil's taking this coming segments, his faction focuses, and making them into individual videos. So if you just want to watch those parts on their own to get like the full benefit of just the faction focus, you can do that. And then at the end, I think you're going to probably catalog them all together, right? So we can have like a full faction focus video.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Yeah.
I say, yeah, Emil is going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is cool. And obviously, please, if you're watching, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can
Yes.
grow, help us grow on the
Please.
YouTube. So, all right. I think class is gonna start now, and it's in session. Mr. Wickman is here, and take it away, buddy.
So today we're gonna continue to learn about the factions of Mythos, and here I'm gonna take this story really fast, a lot faster than last time. So we just like uh, we have a, you know, do it one more time to repeat ourselves to learn the story. The two great being Helios and Selene, they created the whole of Mythos. Helios created all the things, the materia, the mountains, and the seas, and Selene created all the beings. For example, humans and dwarves and, all the elves. But she ended up loving them so much that Helios got envious, and so envious that he thought, okay, how can I win back Celine's focus to me? It's our creation. She should focus on me. So he created some other beings on this earth, like orcs and different kinds of evil creatures. So they started to fighting each other. But this kind of got out of hands, and 4 great gods were created somehow. Hopefully, we learn more about this in the future. The 4 great gods, Eryther, Necronominus, Eryther, and Poxus, were created. And they started to ruin everything. They kind of got out of hand for Helios. So Selene created the 4 great beasts of Cylona, Aetheron, Laodiceus, and Basilia. So the Great War happened there, and the end of the Great War, the 4 gods were banished from Mythos, or banished. They were somehow they were removed from the world of Mythos, and at the same time, the 4 great beasts disappeared as well. And that's where we are right now when we start with a faction of Eryther.
I just wish I had that recorded so I could listen to it at night, because I think it would soothe me. Just listening to Emil talk, it's
You
just
can
like,
call me anytime.
that was wonderful. I'm so calm and happy now.
Oh, that's good. Calm and happy, I like that. So this is the world of Mythos. On the map, wonderfully drawn by Nate Barch. And since we're having a focus on Eryther today, we're going to have a focus on this part of the map.
All right.
And I'll zoom in here. And here we see, for example, we start from the bottom there with Aether Hold. We have Gob Hollow, where the goblins reign. We have Iron Hold and the Graven Mountains. We're talking about some of the dwarf factions, dwarf people here. And Mercurius. Many of us know about the Mercurian warriors that we like, that looks like Spartans, for example. So let's start. This is a lot of figures, and we're gonna skip some of them, or we're actually gonna move on pretty quick on some of these. But we start with the time before the return of the great gods. So the first big great war has happened. All the gods are gone, and all the great beasts are gone. And Gorgo Aetherblade is the one who is ruling the faction of Eryther. And guys, what do you know about Gorgo Aetherblade?
That nobody knows him. Right?
Yes.
Nobody knows who he is.
Yep.
I mean, what kind of race he is.
Now, people assume, there's a lot of guessing, due to his original neck piece, that he's a skeleton, because the original toy came with a skeleton neck peg. Right?
Correct. That's all basically what we know, and we don't even know what his goal is to run the faction of Eryther. Why does he want the god of Eryther to return? We don't know that. But, so, you see, he is the one leading the faction. We're going to go through the queens and kings of these 3 main races, I would say, of the Eryther faction. And the queen of the orcs, Queen Urxa. She's the one that she early on realized that where Eryther came from the beginning. It's like, I think it would benefit the orcs to be a part of this this warmongering faction. We could definitely benefit from this. Okay. And from the goblins, we have King Noglin, who very similar also realized that this could be benefit. The goblins, Noglin and the dwarf king, Bromlin, both very, very rich kingdoms, very wealthy kings who saw that we could benefit from being a part of this. So we'd be happy to join. The thing with Bromlin, though, is that he wasn't what you would call a bad guy from the beginning, you know?
Right.
And of course, the goblins and the dwarves, they fought in between. So here they kind of found a way, like, we could follow Eryther together. We don't have to fight among each other. But being a part of this bigger thing, we can, just benefit from this and grow richer.
And King Bromden, if I remember right, is a brother to one of the other heroic dwarves. Am I right? I believe so.
I think so. Yeah.
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 Just trying to.
That's good.
Yeah.
Come in. You need to show your knowledge about these factions. Okay?
Yeah.
There's
Thord. Yes, it's Thord. That's right. Ironjaw. Duh.
So the brothers, and so you could say that they kind of went different paths here.
Thank you, Rick.
You won't find Thord in this faction.
No.
So it's like Bromden went the dark path. Went on the dark path. Okay. Same here. We have both are Shadowhorn, who is a cousin of Thord Ironjaw. So he should probably be in the good faction, but they say that he has nothing to do with them. He prefers this faction. Okay. So his clan Shadowhorn was a part, like an alliance with Leodicius, but he found a big hatred for Thord. Basically, we don't know the conflict there, or I don't know it right now, at least.
Maybe we will.
Yeah. And the last, hopefully. Oh, we will. I'm looking forward to that book by Jeremy.
The book. There's so much. Yes. There's so much that can be fleshed out in these stories that, that book and maybe stuff that even follows that book has so much potential for some pretty great entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, some of these things that we're talking about now, they probably might change, when they realized, okay, this won't fit into the bigger picture, since they have fleshed out the story a lot more. But then there is basically just one more dwarf in the whole faction. That's the Caven dwarf, which is a Legion builder soldier. So even though we have King Bromden, we don't have more than these 3 dwarves in the whole faction. And somehow I thought there were more, but when I started going through this, they're not.
I mean, there could be 3 million cavern dwarfs, so there really could be,
Yeah.
True.
Plus, you're splitting up like your dwarves, so to say. So, in other words, all the goblins we know are in this faction, but not all the dwarves are in this faction. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how I did it now is like, now we shift the focus to the goblins. So we focus on the goblin characters here. Gonks, one of the commanders. You could almost think that he might be just one of the brutes, big and strong, but he is a true leader who leads the troops,
Mm-hmm.
Deep
Doesn't
into
he
the
have bad
mountain.
breath?
Is it bad breath?
Doesn't he
How
have
come?
bad breath? Because he has that mask.
Oh no, I think it says in his bio he's got bad teeth and he's subconscious.
Oh, okay.
Self-conscious.
Well, if he's got bad teeth, he probably has bad breath too.
It's possible.
Something that you can say about his characteristic, not about his breath, but that is his skill to see who would do best in what kind of position. Like that's kind of his strategic skills. Another commander. We have 2 commanders here among the goblins, and that's a Thump. Who is a relative to Noglin.
Little nepotism, huh?
Yep, it's actually Noglin's nephew. So you remember when this figure arrived? It was in the Wastelands wave. So there was this big battle going on in the Wastelands. We only know some of that, but he was the commander from Gob Hollow for that war, that fight there. You know, the Wastelands around Bjorngar, I would say.
So definitely a subordinate to Gonks.
That we don't know. They could be both commander. We don't know if that's a subordinate. They can be 2 commanders with the same. We don't know that. Though, if you ask my gut feeling, Gonks is the higher ranking one. But that's maybe, I don't know. That's
No
my
proof.
feeling.
No proof.
No proof.
Right.
Okay, Nubnik, my favorite goblin somehow.
I love
still.
Nubnik.
Yeah. So if we know something about Nubnik, I mean, goblins in general are quite disgusting and quite, cruel, and he's even, I mean, horrible counted among goblins. I love that, and the fact that he is an assassin is a cool thing. One sentence that I remember from is that he takes a perversive joy in each and every kill, and that's a sentence like this is not a toy line for kids. Like he's a perversive joy in each and every kill.
Look at that face. I mean,
yeah,
he ain't right.
He ain't right. He ain't right. Okay, Swig. Well,
Swig.
Yeah, he's quite a new one. He's an alchemist, and basically the goblins have alchemists that are trying to make potions to make the other goblins, I mean, stronger, faster, or even give them the ability to fly and stuff like that. But what is also clearly noted is that it not always goes according to plan. So it's not like we're presenting Swig, the perfect alchemist. He can be like, whatever can happen.
Right.
Here's another one that I know many people like. Snag, the thief.
Love this guy.
What do you love about this guy?
Just his first of all, his color scheme. That blue hood just always set him off and just made him look cool. But I mean, he's got that different looking face that's different than most of the goblins, and just looks like he's sneaky and up to no good. And even his bio is great because he's the thief and he collects things. And he's always been. He may still be my all-time favorite goblin.
Really cool. He was actually part of a big lot that I got of figures when I started collecting. And he was one of the pieces I had there, and opened it and then decided to sell him. Big mistake, of course. But I mean, you're young and stupid. This was 3 years ago.
Well, you were definitely younger 3 years ago.
Yeah. So
Jesse's telling us that the bio does say that Nox is the commander of the goblin forces.
That is true. But you also have to take into...
Thump is the commander of a small army of elite goblin forces sent to Gorgo.
Exactly. One thing that I think we need to take into consideration here, though, is that in the beginning, when there only were like four goblins, then you didn't have like all of these different characters. So maybe you just said commander, but I do still think that is the right thing, that Gonks is the higher commander. But I would just assume when you have 4 characters, one is the commander, one is the thief or whatever, then you start to build 10 more, and then you say that this is a commander or something else. then you don't go back and change these bios from the beginning. Like
Well,
there are many who says that this is the most fearsome or most brutal character in this faction, and then a year later it says like this character is the most feared and brutal. So it's
Yeah, maybe with the book they'll do some edits and go
I
back
think
and
so.
kind of retro.
But I
you know.
thank you, Jesse, for that, and that's totally
Yeah,
agree with you.
Snag's awesome because he has that classic look. He just and it's very different than the other goblins.
Yeah.
The long nose, the bonnet, the blue bonnet, hat. He's really cool.
Besides being a thief, we can say that Noglin also likes Snag. That's something that says like he, not King Noglin. He enjoys having Snag around.
yeah, because Snag brings him stuff, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
probably exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of love for Snag in the chat right now, just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
It's like everyone saying that, that Snag is definitely the one of the favorites of the goblins.
I think it's funny you just don't realize, you think when everybody says a Mythic Legions goblin, you think you know what they look like. But when you really sit down and look at them, they're all very different.
They are.
Swig has a completely different face.
Mm-hmm.
Snag obviously has a completely different face than Nubnik or whoever. It's just there's a lot of what do you want to say?
Individuality.
Yeah, individuality, and there's a lot of leeway which is cool because that means that when Treadaway is sculpting the next one, he's not beholden to a certain look. He can kind of get more creative.
Yeah, you can tell.
I would definitely recommend everyone to go to sourcehorseman.com and read the full bios. Read the full bios of the characters and look at the photos of the characters. So you can appreciate them in full. Thwick, the archer. Well, you could summarize his whole bio into he's famous for his being a great archer and his grin. so just leave everyone with that for now. And here we have the classic Goblin Soldier, the Goblin Legion builder. Yeah, I think a lot of collectors have a lot of these around. Then we got the Deluxe Goblin Legion builder, who is also a soldier. And then there is just one more goblin I'd like to add here. And this one I'm not sure about. This is the Bog Goblin, who is of another race. He is a greater goblin. That's another kind of species. There are a lot of different kinds of greater goblins. I'm not sure that you would have the Bog Goblins being a part of the goblins that King Noglin rules.
Yeah.
I don't know this, but I leave this to everyone. So this is not a single character, but the Bog Goblins are, well, they really take joy into being a part of this horrible army. They're feared. They spit black liquid that I think it's called black bile. Something that
Sure.
it's horrible. And at the same time, they're classified as being assassins. So interesting.
Who knows?
Very interesting.
Now
Those things are. I've always been a fan of the Bog Goblin.
Yeah, he's super cool. Why wouldn't you throw the Hellfire Goblin up there too? If you have the Bog Goblin.
Because the Hellfire Goblin is coming later, because he is part of what is coming when Eryther arrives back from the dimension that he has been kept prisoned. So we'll come back to him
Okay.
at the end.
Sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's a good question. So we're going to the orcs. Warthog. Warthog might be one of my favorites in this faction. I think he's badass. I love the parts as a customizer, but the character and how he's built, I love this one. He's both a warlord and a trainer, So he's the one who trains the orc soldiers into becoming better, into becoming who they are. He serves the legions, but his true allegiance is fully with Queen Urxa. But during his role as a trainer, there was this orc that he trained and that came from nowhere and became quite successful. And that was Ursok.
Yes.
So during the training from Warthog, even though Warthog is for Queen Urxa, here we have Ursok. So can any one of you guess why I put Ursok up here and not among the orcs down there? On lower down on the map. Okay, maybe who is it? Okay, Len, I've seen your arm. Please.
Oh, because he's a general.
Yeah, he's a general. That's good. Do you have something more you want to say about that?
No.
I was going to ask you the question when you went right to Queen Urxa, because the way I remember reading the bio is he's in charge and she is like usurping a section of his troops to kind of think that he may not be leading them in the proper direction. That's what I remember, but school me on this.
So, he is definitely, I would say, higher ranking than Queen Urxa. But that is not from where he came, you know? He climbed in the ranks for him being such a, awesome soldier, I would guess, you know? Both because of his intellect and who he was, and for his strength and all those qualities. So Gorgo Aetherblade kind of took him up, you know, and put him like, you shall be here, kind of like, you know. Mm-hmm. So then it doesn't matter then that there's a queen among the orcs that's called Urxa, because she is still below Gorgo Aetherblade.
Got it.
And here we have one other orc that I put next to Ursok, and that is Urko. I kind of always thought that Urko was a character, a named character, and not a group of orcs. But reading the bios now, I realize that this is not one character. The Urkos are mindless savages with a single-minded purpose within the ranks of Gorgo Aetherblade, it says. And their loyalty is more specific to Ursok than the greater good. I mean, the greater cause with Gorgo Aetherblade. So that's why I put that orc kind of troop up there with Ursok. Continuing with the orcs, and this is, when I say continue with the orcs, I still show something that is not an orc. So, I was thinking about putting the ogres. This is Kursok, who is named the Interpreter and General. You probably could put Kursok like the general among all the ogres, if you would. But he's also a lot among the orcs. So he's part of that, but I would say that his rank is higher. His skill of learning, knowing the languages, both from the orcs and the ogres, makes him the perfect one to communicate between these different groups.
Interesting, they would have different languages.
Yes.
Yeah, I never realized that.
Actually, it says more. I reread something here. Maybe the orcs and ogres are speaking more the same, but Kursok knows civilized languages like others, so he can communicate without these, these orcish languages. I would presume. Okay, so that makes him important when it comes to communicating.
I mean, he does look like he could be smart. Like, picture him with a monocle.
Yeah, I like that. And for this reason, I actually put the Ogre Legion builder, who is classified as a soldier. I put him among them. But if we'll see more ogres in the future, maybe this will change.
If there was a figure that was responsible for me getting into painting figures, it's probably that one. Because when I got it, his armor just looked so fun to paint. And, I just was like, all right. And that, I think, he's definitely one of the motivations for me to pull out my paints and start painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would too if I had one. Instead, I repainted other ogre-sized figures. Anyway.
So the orcs speak Orcish, and the ogres speak Orcish, but like Gorgo Etherblade doesn't probably. So because that's what they're saying that what's his name here? Kurzog is like a translator of Orcish.
Yeah. But I would say more civilized languages. I mean, other languages outside the faction even.
Right, like he could speak to the dwarfs who are on his side. So if they're in like a grand battle, he can be the one that can speak to the different races that don't speak Orcish.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
That's interesting. I had to follow up on that. That's cool.
But I'm not saying that orc and ogre speak different language. That was probably something that I misread into it, So now we have the Legion builder. The first orc Legion builder classified as a soldier. And we have the Orc Legion builder 2, who is a soldier as well, but that is a 2.0 figure. And then we have the Orc Legion builder 3, but who changed name into Colosseum Orc because that is what people started calling it. So it is the Legion builder 3, but
he was offered during the Colosseum wave.
Yeah, and he's classified as a gladiator. So here we're talking about the Mercurian Colosseum. That part I talked about the Mercurian part of the map. So during the Colosseum, when you wanted to bring something really action onto the arena, you unleashed a number of Colosseum orcs, with their carnage and bloodlust.
Right.
So these are not. I wouldn't say that any of the orcs are fun guys, but these are even less fun. And then we have this newly released deluxe male orc builder, who hasn't gotten a role. It actually said because we can do whatever we want with this. This is the deluxe builder who has a lot of parts, and I just included one of the photos here, and then one photo for the deluxe female orc builder. Did you guys get a lot of these?
I got a couple of the males. I got one of the female, I think. So not as many as I would like to have, because I really like orcs and I really like having a lot of builders. But these weren't cheap, so at the time, so I, like a lot of other people, probably didn't get a lot volume of these guys, but they're great figures.
Yeah, definitely great figures. So we're gonna pause the orcs for a bit now, come back to them later, but we're gonna turn into the Black Knight. The Black Knight also was released during the Colosseum wave, and are knights guards at the Colosseum. So if you're prisoned there to be fighting at the arena, and you get the idea that I don't want to do this, I think I'm gonna try to escape, then that is probably even a worse idea, because these Black Knights will, kill you instantly. And
Dog
I,
type.
I love these characters. I mean, the All Black is just so amazing.
You know, I don't know if your guys' mind does this, but when you're telling us about these things, you're thinking Colosseum and you're thinking knights or guards as knights and everything. I'm just picturing a movie, you know, or some kind of a cartoon with that you could watch, and us Legions fans could be like, "Oh, there's the Black Knights. They're guards at the Colosseum," you know, and I don't know. It just seems like it.
Wouldn't
They're
that be
so
amazing?
rich. It's so rich, fertile ground for some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree, and one can hope for what the future will bring when it comes to these.
Yeah.
We are gonna keep the Black Knights are humans, and we have two more humans in this faction. One of them is Juno the Crusher, the Barbarian. Stephen, I happen to know this is your favorite character. Is that so still?
It is one of my favorite characters.
One of your
yes.
favorites.
You know, she's not my favorite character in the whole line, but if I had to pick my top 5, she probably would be in there.
So what do you know about her?
I know that she has a history with Atlas, and I know that she's the Crusher, and she I think was taken in by Gorgo at some point, and I always found that to be fascinating. Also her stripped down barbarian look. I mean that's what does it for me. People know that. So
Yeah, something is messed up with her, I think. I mean,
yeah,
if you get it, and it's like, I think that's a part that I like about the character. You know, that Atlas the Conqueror tried to take care of her after she lost her parents, but then they kind of have, we don't know what the falling out was, but the part came when she was saved by Gorgo Aetherblade from a horde of skeletons. So this is interesting. I'm not sure we will ever know the rest of the story, but it would be fun if that was a segment because the character is interesting.
it is. And you get these. I picture myself if I were to sit down and play with these characters, these toys.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. If you're gonna pay attention to the lore and the bios, I don't know. I never thought it was fun to act out the lore and the bios. You take the story forward, and at least that's what I wanted to do. So if I were to be sitting on the floor, Indian style, just playing with these characters, and she would be a redeemable character to me. She would be one of those characters that ends up seeing the light and going back to Atlas and fighting with the noble bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you display her among the Eryther figures?
Yes.
You do that? Okay.
I do, yeah. Because I'm not sitting on the floor playing with them.
Sure.
Well,
Sure, you're not.
at least no one sees that.
Yeah, you can't admit that, of course. So we have one more human, and that is Lady Aberona, who is considered to be an evil knight. So the
I wonder how you can tell she's evil.
the red eyes.
Exactly.
You tricked me into actually giving a serious answer to that. I'm so sorry.
She's
I'm
like
such a fool.
She's like the most evil person, or evil looking character.
I absolutely love this character. You know the story of the Aberona family, that they supported Eryther during the time when he was, bossing around, and she still wanna, her family wanna. They get kind of dragged into the mud when he didn't win, So coming back with she's fully supporting the evil demon, the evil god,
Mm-hmm.
and she's considered to be even the cruelest in her family, even. So maybe we'll see her brother or her parents. Maybe we'll see more from the Aberona family with this wonderful. What is it? Burgundy color that they have.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like Yeah, it almost dips into almost purple burgundy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
I love that color. I could definitely see us getting other characters, but then again, I don't know. So these are the 3 humans. Here I'm just gonna talk about some Legion builder. The warrior, he's a warrior. He's just massive tusk, destroying. Not
Super
one of the
fun.
most interesting, but very, very just ramming stuff.
Yep.
And the trolls, big monsters, of course. And we know that there are many, many races of trolls that are different kinds of. I mean, there are some that are heroic, and there are some that are just totally neutral to everything. And then we have, like, for example, the stone trolls and forest troll that are kind of like, part of the Eryther, the monsters.
Sure.
Archimedes. He is one of the earlier figures that I got. And he is interesting. I mean, just look at his color compared to the rest of the figures so far in the whole faction. Like
Yeah.
a blue
Yeah.
cyclop, and he's the only cyclop, I think, of all factions.
He is
So-
he is the blacksmith.
He is the blacksmith, and his title is the Chief Overseer. So, yeah, he's a strong warrior, but I would say the blacksmith part is probably the most important thing here. Fury Clan Orcs. I put him here in the Orcs because I see him as he's still an Orc, but the Fury Clan probably have more races, and we'll see that now. But the Fury Clan Orc are intelligent, and they're both savage and intelligent, and that's interesting. I would never consider these to be intelligent if I just saw them like this. So considered to be assassins. And moving on from actually not moving on, we're staying here with the Fury Clan, and we're gonna talk. I'm gonna read this. This is straight from the website. Known as much for their precision and intellect as for their brutal efficiency with which they carry out their missions and dispatch their enemies, the Fury Clan are amongst the most feared warriors in all of Mythos. And then there is the Furious Four. So, Steven,
Yeah.
who is this? This is Lord Bishari the Alpha, Lord and Commander of the Furious Four.
Yep.
We're not talking about commander of a big army. He's the commander of 4 guys.
Right. Yeah.
That was a
Couple of schmucks. The other 3 guys. They're 4 guys. They're just, couple of bumbling idiots, and Lord Bashadi's trying to keep it all together. That's how I see it. But
yeah.
he's great looking, isn't he?
He is very handsome. Below that helmet. Actually, he's also a human.
Yep.
So,
He's human. I think he's actually man. Doesn't it just say man? on
it
his bio?
says man, actually.
Yeah. I think it does.
Okay, we continue with this group. Pitorion the Enforcer.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of loud and kind of obnoxious. Just more about like showing off than actually getting stuff done. That's how I see this character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Four Horsemen studio also would like to say that him being an enforcer is kind of like really getting into it, So I just want to add that to your description.
His only weakness is a glass of water.
So for you who don't know, these Furious 4 characters that we're talking about are all tribute figures to, Steven here in the chat and his co-host of the My Wife's Going to Kill Me podcast. So they were tribute figures at LegionsCon 2022.
Yeah.
You can actually buy them afterwards as well.
Yeah. Super
So
fun.
yeah,
And I-
how I mean, you have said this many times, but now you know how Walter feels, who has just now gotten a figure. How did it feel? Like you're gonna be a toy.
it felt, I don't know. It felt so, I don't know how to put it into words. It's just, it's very much joy. I don't know. That sounds probably pretty lame, but when I saw that, and like I've told people when this happened, I think all of us thought it was a joke, and I certainly did when this was sprung on us, and because it was sprung on us that when this happened, but when I did set in that this was real, it made me so happy, and I guess it's funny, these figures don't look anything like us. But there was such care. There was such care in the bios that were written by Jeremy that it really made him even that much more special. So yeah, just something that always puts a smile on my face every time I think about it. So I'm sure Walter feels the same way, and everybody else that's ever gotten a tribute figure.
Yeah. Well said. We move on to Uwit, the herbologist. What is his specialty, Stephen?
Herbs and remedies and things of flora and fauna.
Yeah.
Not much for fighting. He's the
Not
one that
much.
you gotta be like, come on, get over here. We need some backup. And he's like smelling a flower.
It actually says that he's been using, plants and stuff to damage his foes, but the overwhelming exposure of it himself has kind of messed him
Yeah.
up as well. But
He's a little faded.
he's a little bit faded. One that is even more faded, I guess, would be the fourth character of the Furious Four. That is Pelvicus. And below him here you can see that his role is, and then there are just a couple of question marks. Like, what role does he have? What do you know about him, Steven?
I know that he brings something to the table because if you don't have Pelvicus at the table with you, there's something missing. It's just very hard to put your finger on what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really love this bio too because of, and we've already talked about it on this show. He's part of the Fury clan, but he's also part of the blood magic or
He was part of the congregation of Necronominus.
yes. He got kicked out for misreading texts,
Yeah.
special texts. So
Yeah. So he yeah, but still you don't know what he brings to the table. So nobody can say what his role is and what he's doing.
can't put your finger on it. You just know you want him there.
And then there is actually another one, a part of the Furious Four, or at least from the from the Fury clan, and that is Cody Cat, whose role is also unknown, and he is obviously a tribute to your podcast, the one who's handling he's setting up everything, I guess, but you don't
Producer.
know if he's ever be there in time. So Cody Cat's bio says that you don't know if he'll ever show up and what he's doing and if you can count on him. So he's even less reliable than Pelvicus. So
Yeah, he is less reliable than Pelvicus. He's missing more than Pelvicus usually. So, but we're glad to have him when he's there.
Yeah.
No, this is fun. People ask me sometimes who my favorite faction is, and it really puts me in a bind because my character that holds my namesake is part of Eryther, but I'm a barbarian guy, so Noble Bear has always been my favorite faction. So I'm really torn, It's like, what do I say?
what do you say?
I think I have to go with Eryther because I'm part of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be a traitor if it wasn't Eryther.
Well, you would, but you can still say it. But you would be. So, okay, we are almost done with the faction.
Yeah.
That this is a huge faction, so no other faction will take this long, obviously. Here we go. Gorthok, the strategist, and the favorite character of our dear friend Curtis. His absolute favorite figure, Gorthok. So he's a shadow orc. Yeah, I'm gonna read this. Grotesque, inbred creatures that are born deep below the surface, cursed to live a life mining for metals and forging deadly weapons. But he is also the strategist, and the one that the faction of Eryther sent to the Covenant of Shadow, to the meeting where the four evil faction would plot and decide how to bring back the evil gods. So he has a quite important role. And after the Covenant of Shadows, the dark god of Eryther returned.
Yeah.
So you could say this pretty, you can summarize this that he's war. He's war. He's just, evil and war. How would you say?
Len, you've been quiet. You got any thoughts?
On Eryther?
Yeah.
Oh, he's metal, man. Right? He's war.
Totally metal.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's like the first thing you think of when you look at him from the very get-go, is this guy's metal. And he does that's an epic weapon, right, Emil? He has
that is the Aether Blade. And we can see that, Gorgo Aether Blade has the Aether Blade, but that is what the weapon that Eryther is wielding. So there are more stories to read here. More info to find out.
This is when, as far as a toy, view on this, I feel like this is when the Horsemen took a big step with Mythic Legions. Was at this wave. I think there was it's almost like a before Eryther and after Eryther to me. As far as just the level of craziness, it's like they ratcheted it up right here. It's like, okay, from here on out, we're just gonna keep pulling away. Got the gas pedal down, and we're going as fast as we can. This figure represents that to me.
Yeah, not just the figure itself, but the whole environment and community, right? Everything ramped up after that. The collecting, the whole everything around it.
Yeah.
I remember the first show. Again, I love shows. Love the live shows and toy shows, the events that the Horsemen do. And the first one that they did when Eryther was available was a madhouse. It was crazy. Lines out the door. It was hot. And people just lined up for it like no other show I've seen, even to date. It was madness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a super brutal figure.
Yeah.
So, and here he comes with his steed, Aethon, that doesn't have any bio. It's called the Smoldering Steed, which is also a badass steed.
Yeah. That might have been our first look at any steed. I can't remember if they showed us Balius before that one, but
I think we saw Balius at right, like a mock-up really early. I remember seeing a horse at, I want to say at the first Legions Con. They had a horse on display, and I think it was Balius.
But I can remember being home watching G-Con that year because G-Con really, in the beginning, was always just kind of it was just the Horsemen together with a few friends, sure. And they broadcasted it over YouTube. And, I remember when they showed this, I remember being where I was sitting when I saw this horse and this character, yeah. and I was just like, wow, how in the world, this is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Me too. I remember seeing this whole live.
Yeah.
Outside that was summertime. That was when the new waves were in I mean, it didn't have to be November.
They
This
used
was
to do it
summertime.
during San Diego Comic-Con, if I remember right.
Okay.
It was when they stopped going to San Diego, then they started doing G-Con, if I remember. Then it morphed into Mythic Weekend.
Right.
So, we have this now. Belphegor, the Dark Prince. So, when Eryther was prisoned, well, if you call it the prison realm, or in Belphegor's bio, it's called the prison realm. But anyway, that place where the gods were banished to, Belphegor was a native inhabitant there, you know, and he helped weaken the portals to make it possible for Eryther to come back. And Eryther acknowledged that, and when they got back, crowned him the Dark Prince. So that's why you see here on the chart that I made is that okay, we have Gorgo and Belphegor here. Who
Yeah.
will be the one who is the second in command, or I mean, after Eryther? And we don't know much about this conflict.
You think those dudes fight?
I think they want to, both of them. I think they want to seriously fight each other. I mean, they fight everything else. Of course, that's not the question. I'm not falling for that one. But I mean, I think they want to fight each other, but kind of like seeing what Eryther says, you know?
Yeah. So, question I have for you guys. Why is that? Can you hear that on my end? No? Okay. Must not be able to. Len, on
Yes.
your Belphegor, wings or no wings?
No wings.
I mean,
Why is he supposed to have wings?
no,
Wings.
but he came. That wave came with the big red wings that fit him perfectly, and a lot of people put wings on their Belphegor.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely wings.
You have wings on your Belphegor.
Yeah, and when I must admit this, when I saw it, I was more like, well, it's pretty much the same parts as Purplor. At that time, I thought like that. When it arrived, I was like, this is just something totally epic. These parts match, and they create something totally awesome. So
Yeah,
and
his
with the
paints, his paints with the blue highlights or fades, or it just looks
yeah,
like you can't even really see it in the pictures. But for people who own him, they know what we're talking about. He's amazing.
he's probably one of the most powerful looking characters, I think.
He's definitely metal.
Yeah. So we just complete this list with the Hellfire Goblins, who are like a mirror reflection from the prison realm of the Bar Goblins. You know, so it's horrible. I don't think he would go under Noglin here. He's kind of like one of the creatures that, hordes of creatures that came back with Eryther. The same goes with the Malefar, who is the commander. But Malefar is a commander of multiple creatures that look like him, like flying blue demons. But he is kind of like a unique character. But I think we'll end with that for
Nice.
Eryther.
Great wave. I mean, you're a great faction. Great
It's
faction.
a big faction. It's a huge
huge
faction.
one. Yeah. It's a shelf hog. That faction's going to take up a lot of space.
Yeah, and then for people who want to, who like army building, there's so many army builders.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But no, man, just good job, Emil.
Very good job.
Thank you. And like just like Jesse wrote in the comments here about different parts of the bios, go and read the bios. This is to encourage others to find out more about this awesome world that Four Horsemen have created and are still creating.
Yeah, how do you not have fun with that?
Yeah.
So, well, great. Well, that didn't take us as long as we thought. I
No?
thought we were going to be pushing this to 7 o'clock for sure.
Yeah, well, we definitely didn't want to do that because we have a. But
Yeah.
next faction focus will be. I mean,
We-
all faction focus will still be
Do you know who
shorter
we're
than this.
Do you know who we're doing next, Emil?
I think we're gonna continue with the four gods. And I mean, so it will either be Eryther or Poxus. Would you prefer one before the other? You can decide, Steve.
Eryther.
Or
Yeah, I
Eryther?
agree with Len.
Yeah, because it's out already. We have almost all of them probably, right? And Palxis
Yeah.
might time closer to freshen our memories of what's going to come, right? Because Palxis we're waiting for. So
Let's do it. And Eryther is a super tiny faction as well, so it will be the opposite of Eryther. When it comes
It'll
to
give you a break
it
a
will.
little bit.
so we'll have to come in with some random ideas, Steve.
Maybe we're going to have to
Okay.
come up with something fun.
All right.
We'll do the best we can. Is that all? Do you guys have anything?
Wasn't that
Else?
enough?
No. I just didn't want to end the show and somebody say, well, you didn't let me say this. And then we fight after the show and we all get mad. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I prefer not to fight this time. I mean,
Yeah. Last time was pretty brutal.
um,
I mean, you didn't talk to me for what, 3 days? So, but we patched it up.
yeah.
Again, I want to ask everybody that's listening, if you haven't subscribed or hit the like button or whatever you do on YouTube or wherever you're seeing this, which I guess is just YouTube right now, right? Or are we on the Cabal too?
Nope, just YouTube.
Just YouTube. So, yeah, please, even if you're never going to watch us again, just hit it anyways. It
Yeah,
doesn't cost you
subscribe.
anything.
Please subscribe.
So,
There's lots of things that we get access to if we get subs, and since it's a brand new channel, any help we can get is great.
yeah. And spread the word, man. If you like what we're doing here and you got Legions friends, tell them. Say, hey, watch these jokers. They try to put on a good show. You got to give us credit for trying. So, yeah, that's it. LegionsCast Chapter 44. Thanks for joining. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and be ready because we're hitting Eryther. We're going to do some vampire talk.
Awesome.
So, until then,
Yeah.
we'll see you around the land of Mythos, right? I don't know if you're going to play the music. See, we got to get this part down.
Yeah.
Like, are you playing the music again? Because, or aren't we playing the
We
music
should.
again?
Yeah,
Well-
we should out with the music, right?
Yeah, come on, Emil. Let's get this.
There we go.
Now
This
I
is
feel
gonna
like
be
I
so
can
much
do an
better.
outro.
Do it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. It's been fun. It's been real. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Until then, we will see you around the land of Mythos.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.